Welcome to Solomon's Temple, where you can get herbal products, organic herbs, spiritual supplies, crystals and incense, candles, books, spiritual consultations, and life coaching. Solomon's Temple. You can contact us at 803-661-8945. That's 803-661-8945. And also, if you would just like to go to our website, you can contact us at www.solomonshealinggarden.org. That's www.solomonshealinggarden.org. We're located on 7201 Perk Lane Road, Suite C, Columbia, South Carolina, 29223. That's 7201 Park Lane Road, Suite C, Columbia, South Carolina, 29223. See you there.
$7 grams. K-Cello. R.I.P. the WAP. I miss you, my nigga.
Okay, I'm feeling good on a bad day. Put the phone in the gas tank. How much more can a man take? I'm pussy deep like a bad cake. Pull your bitch on a bad day. Put the ash in the ashtray. Hit the hole like a lottery. Stole a heart like a robbery. Dope deal with a side fee. As a young nigga, saw a lot of things. In the trap with a dime piece. Hot blocks with a devil be. Told my nigga I'll never leave. Coke rush, I'll never sleep. Street life made 2 hands, but that's like a thief in the eye. We got lost in the street lights, 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 lost in the. We in the club all night. Yeah. We got lost in the street lights. Where do I start? Where do I start? Check it. Where do I start? Meditate, then I gather my thoughts. It was all a lie, even though they act like it's a walk in the park. Fell in love with the streets, I gave her my heart, she tore it apart. The minute you fall, who can you trust? Really nobody at all, that you could depend on your dog. You hit him collect to get you a check, he won't even answer your call. Remember when y'all were getting cheddar, blowing Cuban cigars, switching lanes in them foreign cars, fucking bitches digging only walls in the club, feeling like you were God. Ha! Really though, we were just young niggas lost, with dreams of copping a Porsche. Get money, fuck women and floss, breaking laws of all sorts, living life without cause. A few of us here to reminisce, but most of the clique is gone. We never knew that the revenue wouldn't compensate for our flaws. So what do you do to cope? Nobody you know feels hope. So we OD'd on the weed smoke and the codeine, cause we need hope. We OD'd on the weed smoke and the codeine, cause we need hope. Like a thief in the night. We got lost in the street lights, 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 lost in the. We in the club all night. We got lost in the street lights, lost in the street lights, lost in the street lights, lost in the street lights.
Supreme Rising, Supreme Afternoon. I am Naga. And today, I was just out, right? Salute to my team, yo. My team is the illest. I love my team. I just want to say that first and foremost. And on top of that, let's get some things straight when it comes to talking and divine understanding and what this means for your own personal particular way of thinking. Everybody want to run to an excuse not to follow divine. Like I've heard and I've read so many different posts on all social medias, right? And I'm looking and I'm like, damn, so Why people just don't get it. At the end of the day, there is a creator. There's a higher creator, and it's not a female body of a woman. Okay, it's not a woman sitting in space like this talking about, oh, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got to understand these terminologies. And this right here, it might be kind of perplexing to certain people, but the negative frequency and the positive frequency have nothing to do with genders. I know y'all have heard this a million and one time, but I have to specify this for a particular reason. So to understand where I'm coming from with this understanding is you don't have a perception in how things work. Just because you manifest it out of this frequency, it doesn't give you the rules of what divine energy is. You are a happenstance of this energy. And by happenstance, we manifest it in these particular traits. Now, if you go to higher existences of the DNA probability that takes place off universal manifestation, they don't even speak to gender. The higher it goes up, the gender goes away. The higher it goes up, the gender goes away. So this doesn't speak to women being God. Okay, it speaks to the frequency. And you have to understand what happened in the universe to understand why these things are actually taking place. You have the etheric waters. Imagine, and this is where imagination has to come into a play. Before I even get to the original point of the circumstance that I'm about to build on, right? So understanding this, the etheric waters at one point was all that was out there. If you want to say anything outside, before sun, star, moon, quasar, anything, it was just etheric waters. This is a divine principle. Etheric waters is a divine principle. Etheric waters is a divine principle. Understand where I'm coming from. So something happened. They said the word came through the water and manifested. Word is frequency. If you can comprehend terminology, then you know word has to be backed by sound. Sound is a vibration. So if there was a sound, a vibration that came through the ether, it was electricity. And when the electricity came from the bottom to puncture ether water, it created a womb. Everything that we call minerals, or we call elements, or we call prospects are counterparts or dilutions of the universal principle. There is nobody here that can speak to how things should be. You don't know what the ether is. As far as you know is what you're told. This is why particular beings of our culture had to exist, so we can see through past dimension and understanding. Meditation allows you to pull in particular types of frequency. This starts to perplex the ideal of humanity. It starts to push humanity to the left as far as reason. When you understand these things, then you know the L, which is the positive frequency, the L, ELO, there are angles. See how that goes in so many different angles. It can go in any angle it needs to figure out what's going on. That's the L. The feminine, the 9, was actually formulated off of the wisp. The wisp spiral in the universe. Why is this taking place? Because a force of energy punctured like this through the etheric waters. When it popped through the water, it said, boom. Have you ever heard something blow up in the ocean? It goes, boom. So when the sound came through the ocean, or the etheric waters, as we call it, it punctured through the waters and it spun everything else off, birthing the 9. The 9 can only be complexed by a mind that was using these perplexities, these formulations of ideologies, meaning numbers, words, and formats of how we would speak vibration. At one point, we didn't speak nothing. and was the powerfulest beings known or to be known. So when you speak to the force popping through the etheric waters, watch water as it rides down a river and it hits rocks and stuff like that as it flows. It makes whirlpools. They spin in what direction? A 9. This is a fact. So there is not a terminology humanity created that actually speaks to the reality. We just, what they call, have a conducive understanding with the value of the particular circumstance by how we articulate or comprehend certain things. That was the suitable way for us to understand it. This way we're looking at it is going to die soon because we're going to rise to the particular knowledge of truth. We're walking into truth. While we're taking these things that we slang may use these words and speaking to universal principle, we only speak in slang to them. It doesn't speak to the true value. That's for us to comprehend it, not for the truth. It's like talking to a baby and they respond to you in Google Gaga saying they want food. You know they didn't say they want it, but you understood the motion. All right. With that being said, the process of delivering the energy through the etheric waters blew off a lot of stuff. It just blew off. Bang, because this is powerful. Boom. It blows off everything. A lot of wisp. 9s was created in the etheric water and they kept spinning off because of the force of divine energy that was coming through. Boom. Now, the ether, which is, if you want to use a way for us to comprehend this energy, is magical. So when it's popping off, because the etheric energy, the word, is literally coming through the water, creation is happening. Happenstance. The reason why the womb was endowed with all of divine's knowledge, because divine popped through it. It was immersed in only divine energy. The divine arm was coming through. This energy was flying up. Hold on. People are hard-headed. They just don't want to take no for an answer. So when the etheric energy popped through the water, it was spinning off creations because divine energy is all. The energy itself is all. Anything divine's energy touches, it formulates life. It's not a wand in magic to say, poof, you're a dog. Poof, you're a cat. Poof, you're a man. That's not how it happens. It explodes. And when it explodes, it formulated life. So the bodies of existence were coming into fruition because of the force of divine's energy coming through the etheric water. So that womb that it created was the first negative energy because it had to damage the ether. So it formulated a wave, a ripple like this. That is negative because it distorts the plane of existence. That's why it was negative. No other reason for that. It didn't speak to the female. It didn't speak to the male. It just spoke to the negative vibration. The negative vibration inhabited everything because divine is a positive force. So naturally, it created a counterpart. It needed a hole that was the opposite of being closed in. Divine is complete. Nothing is ever going to get into divine energy. It's closed in. So it popped a hole to go into the next ether, to go into the next space. This is how we came into fruition. And as these waves were rippled down, the creation would dilute to a value until it finally came to us and in things that are under us. This is how the universe creates. Now, with this energy being formulated on aspects, you have different things that existed that was able to harness this energy. That is not divine. These are creations of divine. And you have to understand this. This is reality. This is the truth. Whether you want to accept it or not, this is just what it is. And how do I know these things? Because I've learned and been taught and trained by divine to watch the waves of the universe. This is an old science that our ancestors have been dealing with for eons. Being able to watch the waves of the universe, how things move and how we are placed, what this really is. We are still in the hole of we're still in the womb of the explosion. We're still in that hole where divine energy popped through. That force of energy coming through the bottom all the way up, it brought sediment. It brought sediment from the bottom and it punctured all the way through, and we created an existence here. We didn't create it, but the divine energy created, and we being a part of the divine, having a life force from that, we created it because we are part of that. This is why we are existing. So now we get to the actual point of the conversation. Within all our dilution and our value, the motion of the divine energy that flung out in so many different directions, what did that do? It splashed water everywhere, right? So now water has so many different directions it's traveling to try to get to a subsequent place. We're moving, we're in motion, we're emotion. We're in motion, we're emotion. We're in motion, we're emotion. Because we carry the water. Water takes the shape of the body that it's in, right? So understand this, when it blew out, some of it was trickling back to the source. Some of it stayed and puddled in different aspects. This is existence. Until that water dried up, which probably etheric water takes long. You know how long it takes for lava to cool down? Like a long time, like a very long time, like years. You're not going to cool lava down just by rain hitting it. No, it's going to be hot up under there, and it's still going to take years before that cools down. Like, seriously. So imagine how long did it take for the etheric situation to actually start formulating back into the spot where divine actually punctured through. See, this is divine gravity. Nobody understands these processions, but we yet to talk about them as if we have deemingly the strongest suit of understanding our existence. We don't have that understanding. Your understanding is still going in its own direction while in existence. So you're the water still traveling like this, still trickling, and divine energy is flowing. So you feel a pull, you feel it. And as more of the forces of the divine energy that blew off in the beginning of existence start to come back into the actual flow, you feel a pull. You feel that energy start to gravitate or get heavier because there's more energy going back to that source. So you feel something inside of you. It's not a physical thing. It's your energy trying to go home. There's not a hill for it to trickle down there. Keep in mind, we're etheric waters. So we have to stop taking these things out of concept because there's only one direction. And while you're sitting out here in this world, you're looking at these things as if you are the progenitor or the start of these things. No, you are part of these things trying to get back to where you come from. So this is why it's so hard for you to comprehend, because that gave you will. You are left alone as divine energy, splashed on whatever surface that was manifested out of the puncture of divine energy coming through the etheric waters. That didn't speak to a person, place, nor thing. That speaks to an action. That speaks to an action. That speaks to an action. So understand where I'm coming from. The rise is shedding off the material that is formulated to hold or house the individual light that was blown off. Every body or bodies that was created out of the etheric reason is going backwards. You don't have a way to speak. You don't have a way. So divine allows through unconditional love for you to find your way, knowing that possibly because you're not connected to the tether, you're going to go the wrong way. Does that speak to the actions you take place, or that speaks to the direction known that you may walk? It speaks to the directions. You personally, because your light is going back and forth against that duality in yourself, because light itself is the true self. You not having a tether on where to go back, being etheric water, not able to go back to that source, feels the indifferences. And you, hold on. So it gets to the point to where while you're living and you're manifesting in your existence and you're trying to go back to once you came because of how the waves is pushed back, all waves that go out, they come back. That's just the motion. So whether we know it or not, all energies is going back to the source because it was pushed out. So it has to come back. That's why Divine said how it was sent out is how it's going to come back. Right? So when you're out here and you're thinking, oh, I'm this, I'm that, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, you're going against divine energy. You only have one motion to be a part of the whole. As divine's energy is still flowing through the ether, and it is filling up the space that we known as space, or the etheric water aspect is filling that up. Creations are coming out of nowhere. You're seeing all types of things exist because all the energies are coming back to the center. All outside forces eventually are coming back to the center. Even if there are other beings that live in other places, they're going to come back to the center. You have particular energies that can't go that way because they're not that. Other things was created off of these aspects and don't hold no divine energy, because divine energy, no matter what it touches or blows by or rubs against, is going to create. It's going to create. And it's going to create in the waves of existence. So there are bodies that are ginormous that you will never see. You may consider that to be God because of its gigantism, its largeness, its force. You may consider that to be God in your mentality. But this separates certain people who know they're still tethered to divine, which makes them chosen. And some people who are trying to retether their connection. You're not going to retether your connection by putting things in the middle of you. This is why I say it's better, if you want to be a spiritualist, not to put your hands or gravitate to certain things. You see what I'm saying? I'm still the same person who carries stones. I got 2 rocks right here I keep in my pocket all the time. I'm always rubbing my rocks in my hand like this. So I'm learning to walk away from them too, but I got real minerals in my hand. I'm not using these minerals to do nothing for nobody. I'm keeping them with me because I know what they are. One of them is the time that we living in, and the other one is for protection. So I keep the time we living in, and I keep the protection as a reminder that I'm protected, and for the time that I'm living in. I don't use this for nobody. I keep it for myself. It's just like if you're getting drunk, you don't want to impression nobody with your value. You want to just do your own thing. You don't need to call people if that's what you do. At that point, you are pushing your energy onto somebody. You are trying to infringe their life with yours. The only direction you have is divine direction. So while you're lost out here, you're going to feel all in your power. You're going to feel the glow. You're going to feel the greatness. You're going to feel the spark of divine energy that you hold. And because you hold that energy, it's going to simultaneously, not being connected by the coil, it's going to allow you to start thinking that you are part of this world or can be greater than this world. That's because your energy comes from the source. It already has an electrical makeup of information that explains its existence. So unless it's attached to the source, it doesn't have a direction. This is why your job is to put the world down and reattach to divine. Most are not going to want to hear it like this because you need a subsequent value to understand spirituality. But spirituality is only the fact of how things go out and how they come back. It is simplicity. It is simplicity in its finest form. But everybody needs it to be complicated, so therefore you can thumb. You need something to correlate your actions with. Because you're not solidified in understanding what you truly are yet. So you put on things, you grab things, you gravitate to shit. You see what I'm saying? You're scared to be without. You're scared to be just you. And if you see somebody talking that way, you go run and you tell people that that's not what it is. And you will build up your own imagination to a value of articulate words to speak to something that's not true. This is manipulation and confusion. Just because you want to self-save. How many people say it's just about them? How they feel, how they want things, how they would do things. This is because you're trying to solidify a life. You're trying to solidify a connection to the universe. You're trying to solidify a connection to this plane. This physical plane. You need a connection to the divine outside of this thing. So while you're living through this existence, you are tethering yourself to the divine. You are re-roping yourself. And after you start to re-rope yourself, divine's watching this intention in one motion. He's watching you to reconnect. It makes the road a little bit easier as you pull closer, which solidifies you in the motion of whatever existence you at. Most people say, yo, how do you believe that other species are highly intelligent, but yet we haven't graduated to a certain value? It's because they probably was a lot closer to the fact of the energy. They probably was somewhere out in the universe closer to the actual disbursement of the womb. So then the comprehension of what energy does and how that works was already inlaid into their DNA. We are a culture that's kind of splashed out. It's kind of splashed out. So since it's kind of splashed out, some of us are still connected and a lot of us aren't. Even though we have lives, even though we have the light life that gives you the reason to be standing here in a fleshly body. Every week, the knowledge is going to change. If you're still holding on to the same way you're doing something every 7 days, it's telling you that that's not what you're supposed to be listening to. Facts, because divine knowledge is swift and changeable, never remainable, but always the same though. That's simplicity. So it's swift and changeable because there are sizes to the growth. My job is when I have thoughts in this body, in this flesh, is to stop those thoughts right at that moment and ask divine to come in front of that thought. Because that's the source. So if I ask the source, which I'm tethered to connect to me when I'm having these thoughts in this physical body, the source is going to allow my thoughts to be purified. So when I speak, I'm speaking truth. The more you work this particular muscle, ultimately, everything that you start speaking will follow that diagram. This is what it means to be lost in this world. Everybody's still speaking to values that do not suit or serve the actual motion of the power of divine's energy going through the etheric waters. Everything, every element known to creation wants to be the ether and the energy that popped through the ether. That's the first thing divine touched. So when divine was coming through, making the womb in the great waters, it was vroom, and it blew the great waters outwards. That created a womb in the water. The water was endowed with life at that point, or the aspect of creation of life. Things were created at that point. And the reason why they were called monsters, because of their connection to the energy. A monster is only an individual that is higher than a human. Someone that can access the level of divinity energy, no matter what that means for their plane of existence. Someone who can access higher levels of energy. That doesn't speak to the darkness. That doesn't speak to the feminine. It doesn't speak to the Elohim. Those are all creations off of the force of divine motion. In motion, divine motion, in motion, emotion. In motion, emotion. Your in motion is the reason why you feel things. Nobody's going to take these things serious. Nobody's going to sit down and say, well, you know what? This is what I have to do. This is what needs to be done. This is the way I should look at it. No, you're going to self-serve yourself. And automatically, that thought in itself, when you go to self-protect yourself or illuminate your value as one separate from everything else, that speaks to the cable cord not being there. This is why Freemasons was created. You had my sons, Masons, my sons, the ones still connected, and then you had Freemasons, the ones that was disconnected from the value. That energy in itself, that storyline, that frequency of actions by default created a retrospect that people live. We're not living a world that is according to. We're living a world that explains for who. And once you learn the explanation that one is trying to speak, you end up using that for yourself as if it is reality. My conversations get deep. They get deep, you're going to get lost. Because it's not going to start speaking to magic and powers and doing X, Y, Z and flipping this and flipping that and going here and going there. It's not going to do that. And see, what I was told by higher spiritual people, the lesser races had to use material things because of lack of the light they had. So they had to use a conduit. That's because they didn't have melanin. And that was okay for them because that was going to give them karma. That was going to give them memory. So dealing with the ether in between their flesh and a conduit, it had to be that for them. So if they submitted to the value in these things and eventually learned the knowledge of these conduits, they can eventually pull away from them and start being that of themselves, which inhabits melanin. That was going to take a long time being in the oven. That's like baking bread. But that wasn't for everybody. We were already the tool or the jewels or the refraction of the light that came through. We refracted. We were the ones that landed off of the aspect, flying through the ether, off of the great boom, the great boom out of the water, flying through the ether, and we landed somewhere and manifested. Some of us still had a cord attached and some didn't. That was the understanding of the separation to the particular value. It had nothing to do with, oh, you're the woman and you're the man. No, creations outside of this value of this existence don't look nothing like how we want to see them. You don't really want to see divine. You don't really want to see next beings. And this world has got you so twisted, they got you believing demons is something scary. No, they twisted that around because angels look like demons. It's not all beautiful and painted. Like, it's not that. The more you grow, the less the shape of humanity is important. So what starts to become important is a shape that would be more conducive for conduit. Let's start getting real with it. A shape, a human body that's more conducive for a conduit of high electricity that comes from divine pretense. That's how the body start looking. Why do you think you start seeing creatures with like 3-4 horns? Look at a building that got towers. Don't it got things sticking out the top of it? That's to conduct electricity. But if I romanticize these stories and make them look another way, you ain't gonna never gravitate to them. I'm gonna scare the shit out your ass. But then I can still hide the story and putting it in between the understanding of how you believe dark is or how you believe bad is or how you believe what evil is or what you think negative is. You see how they run all those things concurrent? Negative, evil, and bad ain't got shit to do with each other. But you will correlate those things in the same retrospect. This is a fact. And positive don't add up to the same things as good or happy. Positive is a frequency. Happy is a response to an action. And good is how you feel when something happens to you. So how the fuck you get that out of positive? Positive is the L, the angle. That's all it is, the angle, the different ways of looking at it. So that might be a good thing because you have different ways of looking at something. But you see how that's a response to the action. That is not the thing. This is where divine gets confused with his own people. I'm perplexed by by how many of my original people I'm going to lose because of lack of knowledge. What is knowledge? Know the ledge. It's how much you know your existence, how much you know yourself incomplete. So if you knew that you were still connected to the divine, would you make these choices? I'll wait. Most people are trying to solidify something for themselves personally within this world that we live in. This is the reason why you have self-serving activities. This is why you can't connect with nobody because you think you're in survival mode. And that's because of the lack of connection to the light you have to the source. That light ain't there. So you know what you feel like you got to do? Something for yourself. You got to make it happen. The world allows you to have that because the more you put the energy in, that's how less the divine was connected to you. So that means that's the energy you're expelling. We burning stars up out here. Burning stars up. Nah, divine would rather have you shine bright. And the only way you're going to continuously shine bright unless you connect back to the infinity. That's the ninth insight, the sixth insight, the seventh insight. That's what that is. Insight. You understand and you're connected. So then your sight grows by the connection you have. But you can only see as far as you are existing when you are not connected to a higher connection. I don't make this up. Hold on. They're going to be blowing my phone up every day now for no damn reason. I don't even know how they got my damn number. But this is the reality. In order for you to truly understand divine, you got to pull away from what you think you know about this system. That's just the bottom line to that. And that's every connection that lines up with you being physical. So as you walk away from the divine and you are pulling your etheric self out of the physical body by your decisions, ultimately what you're doing is you're showing divine that you're still connected, which is going to strengthen your existence to get where you got to go. You see what I'm saying? It's not hard to actually understand the direction of the flow. It's you comprehending that you're a part of that. Because while you're walking, you're stopping off the different stores, you're listening to people, you're putting things in front of you, in between you and your direction, which ends up being a blockage. And now you want to make an excuse why you're blocked. Now you chose that. This is why it's important for you to understand when you make mistakes and when you do something wrong. So therefore you can remove the block yourself and get back to where you was going. But this is how cognitive dissonance takes place, because you don't realize that these are your actions. You don't realize this is what you're saying. You don't realize this is what your default is by the choices you're making, by the agreements you're doing. You see what I'm saying? As men and females, we have to be more mindful at the choices that we are saying that we rock with. And if you can start surviving or continuing your life off of the lesser value what the system has to offer, create from natural pretenses to make your life abundant, eventually it's nothing the system gonna have to offer you. Because you would have created every value that you needed with the divine energy under divine pretense to get you where you're going in the divine direction. But no, they got to give you churches. They got to give you bullshit. They got to give you bullcrap. They got to give you all this. But the divine created you. How disrespectful can you go put me somewhere when I'm the body housing the light? When I'm the dirt made flesh to house the light? Who are you to misdirect divine's energy? Y'all better quit playing. Y'all need to quit playing. Nobody gonna take it serious, because you know why? You want to make up. You want to dress up. You want to play God. These words are created in the existence of this time. People made this understanding, lack thereof of their fear. You know what's even more deeper about these words that we use when we solidify the names of divine pretense? Most of these words was made out of other names. They were groups of entities that called themselves something. You never knew an army wasn't an army. An army was really a goud. The goud were the leftover soldiers that absorbed the soul of fallen soldiers. Goud translated into God. Germanic terms. G-U-U-D. Go look it up yourself. I don't make this shit up. But everybody's talking about their God. So really what you're saying when using these terms is you absorb souls. So now who's the devil? Just saying. Being mindful of these things, it's not to say that you are part of these things that they're telling you because the energy is flowing in that direction. You got to be mindful who created these terms for you to even believe this bullshit. Because divine ain't sending out newsletters. The divine energy is still sitting where it popped through the ether at the first time. Right now. Flowing like a mother. Blowing like a geyser. Filling up the whole existence. And it's getting full. This is why people are getting worried. It's not about what's coming or what's happening. The universe is filling up. This is why knowledge is popping up out of nowhere. This is why you're starting to feel and know. This is why you can stick your hand right in the ether and pull stuff down. Divine's flow that's popped through the ether is literally filling up the universe right now. That's what's literally happening. And divine energy is going to be everywhere. It's going to be permeated everywhere. So you know everything that's not divine is running to go hide somewhere. Where are they going to run hide? In weaker people. Weaker bodies that hasn't been focusing on their light to protect it. People who are living indifferent to the direction of the flow of things. They're going to go hide there because they can piggyback that ride. We have to stop thinking that we are the issue. We're not. All these seeds that I drop, yeah, take them and run with them. Go ahead, take them and run with them. Go do your little podcast. Break it up how you need to break it up. Say it how you want to say it to make yourself, get some bread. But just keep in mind, when I speak this truth, I'm doing divine work. And it came directly to me to do this work. So if you don't handle that light right, you're going to have some problems to deal with. Divine will punish you for messing with his flow. That's all I'm saying. It is what it is, and it is what it's going to be. You know what I mean? So this truth, it comes through me touching and being still. I touch to the divine, I'm still. And that's how I hear it. Divine got a message for each and every individual existing today. But you got to get to your energy that's existing for your frequency so you can tap into your mail. You got mad mail, yo. Every last one of y'all got mail, but you ain't opening your mail. You over here worrying about what's in my mailbox. Why you think half the nation always get caught back up in the system? Because y'all ain't reading y'all mail. Divine talking to everybody right now. Are you able to hear him, though? Or you trying to think you can hear divine by somebody else speaking their message to the world? That ain't your message. You don't see the pattern? If you ain't never had this type of energy and you seeking it now, but yet you say, I'm going to take a shortcut, ain't a such thing as a shortcut. Divine is the shortcut. You ain't gonna manipulate divine. Is you crazy? So your option is to connect to divine to see what you got. I'm here to show you and help you with that. If you want to strengthen your value to where you can speak knowledge that ain't nobody talking. You want to be the one to put out some fire that ain't nobody heard. Holla at me. I got a jewel for you. We can do this over a consultation. I got to eat too. So this is what I'm saying. You're going to put yourself on the road that's wide and spacious. That's what you want, right? What Divine told you about those roads. So y'all be snatching pieces and go run. I'm going to snatch and go run. I'm going to snatch and go run. It's sad because that's the lack of knowledge Divine is talking about. When he says, I'm sad about how many of my original people are going to die because of lack of knowledge. You're not gaining knowledge taking minds. I'm telling you to get yours. You're not gaining knowledge taking mine. I'm trying to teach you how to unlock yours. Because Divine taught me how to unlock minds. And a lot of people still not hearing. So you know what? I'm the image of the fall that rose. I don't need nobody to tell me nothing because I ain't listening to people. I'm following Divine. I'm not even following me. People who know me, they know I'm a nutbag. They know I would have been and did some dumb shit. But I'm following Divine right now. And I'm trying to show you what that means for you. And Divine gave me a key to unlock some things for other people. But if you're not willing to drink the water, so therefore you can be the best version of yourself, what am I going to do with that? I can't help you. Divine ain't going to even help you. Because you'd rather be a thief and a liar. See, a liar is one that lays. A liar is also one that makes sounds. You ever seen a liar? It's like a fiddle. Think about what I'm saying to you. The player plays the liar and the liar makes the sound. See, the liar is speaking for the player. And when you lay down. So when you're not putting this work, you're laying. Even if you're standing taking mine, you're still laying on your own spirit because you won't get your own mail. Divine said, I'm saddened by how many of the original people that's going to die by lack of knowledge. I love y'all. That's why I'm trying hard. It can't be just one jewel shining. There's a lot of jewels out there of value. And they all shine when they clean, baby. Put your ego down and come to me. And I will lead you to you. If that's not what you want, seek it yourself and see how that works. And if you do it yourself, make sure Divine is in front of every choice you make. I mean, every choice. It's been a practice, and I remember doing this for like 3 years straight. Every time my feet touched the floor, I would say Divine. Before I touched the doorknob, I would say Divine. Before I decide to go somewhere, I would say divine. I made this a practice. So divine would start to retether me back to the system. I said that wrong. Retether me back to the etheric flow. And I needed that connection. So everything I would do at that point had divine in front of it. I didn't give a damn what I said. Yo, you want smoke? Divine. Yeah, I'm going to roll a blunt. People be like, yo, why you say divine in front of everything? Because I'm putting divine in front of everything I do, literally. I'm calling on the Most High name. Every time I spoke, I did this shit for like years, back to back. It started looking funny to where something unlocked in my head and I started getting vibrations. I started knowing shit. And divine would like show me shit ahead of time. I remember being a different type of energy when I was younger. I remember being aggressed. You would put me in a situation, I'm already boop, 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 boop. And I'm like, damn, what happened? They're like, yo, you be bugging. I'm already in it. And then it'd be after the fact, I would think about it like, damn, I am a million miles from that right now. I'm like a million miles in the other direction. I hear my first thought. I pay attention to my first thought and I go with it. Even if other energies try to come in and tamper with the flow of how things are working, I automatically is placed in the right understanding because it's always there. You don't have to answer the call. The phone can ring all day. You ain't got to jump on that joint. Pace yourself. You ain't got to respond right now. Talk to the divine first. This is what I mean. Every choice that people make is always about how they want to do stuff. This is why it only comes to a certain level. When divine do it for you, it's perfect. That's something you might want to think about.
Hello. Welcome to Solomon's Temple, where you can get herbal products, organic herbs, spiritual supplies, crystals and incense, candles, books, spiritual consultations, and life coaching. Solomon's Temple. You can contact us at 803-661-8945. That's 803-661-8945. And also, if you would just like to go to our website, you can contact us at www.solomonshealinggarden.org. That's www.solomonshealinggarden.org. We're located on 7201 Park Lane Road, Suite C, Columbia, South Carolina, 29223. That's 7201 Park Lane Road, Suite C, Columbia, South Carolina, 29223. See you there.
Yeah. You already know the vibes. You rocking with 7 grand. Turn up. Let's go.
Mother sunrise.
Look, amen like church. Nigga came from the block. I was raised from the dirt. Mother, son, mother, earth. On the phone we talk. Showed her all my scars. Bullet wounds to the heart. She placed a hand on my back. She said, calm, my love. Then she healed my scars. Come closer, my love. We could just chill and talk. A safe space to trust. You'll be my only one. You'll be my only love. I saw it's like the sun. I fell in love with her golden locks. We talked on the phone for hours. And her smile was like the perfect flower. I could just stare at her for hours. The radiant one, my mother's middle son. Mother sunrise has begun.